Old Hollywood sold perfection. Flawless faces, immaculate wardrobes, and love stories that always found the light. But behind the posters were locked doors, whispered phone calls, and studio fixers who cleaned up messes before the morning papers hit the street. Tonight, we're cracking open 10 sealed files, real names, origin ages, fashion armor, and the rumors they couldn't outrun. 1. Marilyn Monroe, the myth she couldn't control. She was the sun, and the spotlight burned back. Born Norma Jean Mortensen, later Baker, on June 1, 1926, Marilyn signed her first studio contract at 20 and rocketed to superstardom by 24. The blonde bombshell wasn't an accident. It was a design. Platinum waves, a whisper-soft voice, and dresses engineered to look painted on. On camera, she glowed. Off camera, she preferred capri pants, flats, and sweaters, almost anonymous. What few knew, Marilyn was a serious student of the craft, drilling with Lee Strasberg, filling lined notebooks with notes about truth in acting. She even formed Marilyn Monroe Productions to wrestle control from the studios, a radical move for an actress of her era. Rumors chased her like paparazzi. Powerful lovers, secret calls, a little black book, even a diary that some say contained names the public would recognize. Official reports later labeled her end as an OD, but speculation never stopped. Underneath the brightness was a girl from foster homes, a woman who craved safety and kept finding fame instead. Insomnia, anxiety, miscarriages, and pills meant to help that didn't. Her smile sold magazines, her pain filled the margins. But Hollywood wasn't done building legends. It was busy engineering leading men, too. 2. Humphrey Bogart, the tough guy who felt everything. He looked like a man who'd seen too much. Maybe that's why we believed him. Humphrey DeForest Bogart, born December 25, 1899, hit the stage at 21 and broke into films in his early 30s. His wardrobe was straight-line masculinity. Trench coat, fedora, loose tie, a cigarette hanging like punctuation. And yet, the coolness hid a soft spot. He loved boats, clean lines of the sea, and the woman who met him eye to eye, Lauren Bacall. The legend says he drank hard and fought harder. The man wrote letters to friends like a poet. His studio image was flint. His private humor was warm. The bar fight stories make great radio, but friends hinted that PR oxygen often kept those embers burning. He still paid a cost: alcohol, exhaustion, and the illness that eventually took him. He taught audiences that toughness isn't about never breaking, it's about breaking honestly. Next, a woman whose grace came from surviving hunger. 3. Audrey Hepburn, elegance written in scar tissue. Her silhouette is a language: boat necklines, narrow cigarette pants, black dresses that speak in whispers. Audrey Kathleen Rustin, born May 4, 1929, appeared in small roles at 19 to 20 and claimed the crown at 24 with Roman Holiday. She wasn't just chic, she was resilient. Starvation during wartime left marks she carried for life, along with a gentleness you can't fake. Audrey's fashion was a partnership. Givenchy crafted the armor that made her seem untouchable. Off-screen, she kept rituals small: a scarf, good bread, a quiet table. Rumors swirled about extreme dieting, but those close to her point to lingering effects of wartime malnutrition and a dancer's discipline, not vanity alone. There were whispers of on-set chemistry and complicated love, but the strongest truth was her work later with UNICEF. She kept showing up for children who lived the version of childhood she remembered too well. She was proof you can be delicate without being weak. And then came a boy who showed that 3 movies can last forever. 4. James Dean, the rebel who stayed 24. 3 films, that's all. And yet James Byron Dean, born February 8, 1931, changed the blueprint. He started in TV and ads at 20, hit film leads around 23 to 24, and dressed in a way every teenager could copy. A red jacket, white t-shirt, blue jeans, boots. Simple. Timeless. He craved speed, cars, motorcycles, the rush that drowns out noise. Behind the squint were poetry books, jazz records, and a camera he carried like a second heart. Hollywood murmured about his loves. Some said girl next door, others said the town's most powerful men. He didn't explain. He didn't slow down. Fans call it fate. The police report calls it a crash. At 24, time stopped, and the rumor mill kept running. Dean remains the patron saint of the misunderstood, the boy who taught America how to be complicated on screen. But if Dean burned fast, Elizabeth Taylor learned how to burn and rebuild. 5. Elizabeth Taylor, Diamonds, Scandals, and a Lion's Heart. Born February 27, 1932, Elizabeth Rosamond Taylor faced the camera at 10 and never looked away. She had violet eyes that read as violet even in black and white, a face for close-ups, and a will that matched any studio head. Her fashion swung between goddess gowns and flowing caftans, punctuated by historic jewels. She wore the Taylor-Burton diamond like a battle flag. The papers fed on her love life. 8 marriages, the Eddie Fisher scandal, the torrid flame with Richard Burton that scorched sets and sold tickets. Behind the tabloids was a woman living with relentless pain, spinal issues, surgeries, addiction to pain meds she kept trying to beat. Then she did something old Hollywood rarely did. She used her fame to help others, becoming one of the first major stars to throw her full weight behind AIDS activism. Not just checks, courage. Next, the king of Hollywood, who learned a crown can't shield a broken heart. 6. Clark Gable, A Crown and a Curse. The grin, the mustache, the shoulders that filled a suit. William Clark Gable, born February 1, 1901, trained on stage by 22 to 23, on film by his late 20s. Tailored suits for premieres, tweed and open country for weekends. America called him the King of Hollywood. But kings bleed, too. Gable's great love, Carole Lombard, died in a plane crash after a war bond tour. The shock tore something he never fully stitched back. He drank more, laughed less, and signed up for service, maybe to feel pain with a purpose. Rumors stuck to him like lint, a long-whispered paternity secret later acknowledged in the open, and petty scoops about dentures and bad breath. He shrugged. He kept working. He kept hunting. The crown didn't save him. It never does. Across the Atlantic, a woman walked away from Oscars to wear a real one. 7. Grace Kelly, When a Princess Misses the Stage. Grace by name, discipline by design. Grace Patricia Kelly, born November 12, 1929, lit up early TV at 20 and stepped into cinema royalty by 22 with High Noon. Her fashion was precise: cool pastels, pearl strands, wrist-length gloves, and the Hermes Kelly bag that became shorthand for immaculate taste. She won an Oscar, married a prince, and traded scripts for ceremonies. The public saw a fairy tale. Confidants sometimes saw a woman who missed rehearsal halls. Rumors hinted at intense romances before Monaco and stretches of loneliness after it. She met duty with dignity, turned her attention to charities, and kept the mask steady. When the crash came, the crown couldn't help. She left at 52, still elegant, still unknowable. Meanwhile, a man with the perfect suit wondered if he'd ever feel complete. 8. Cary Grant, style so perfect. It looked effortless. He wasn't born suave, he built it. Archibald Alexander Leach, born January 18, 1904, ran away with vaudeville as a teen, 13 to 16, learned timing, and arrived in Hollywood at 28 with a jawline that could sell tickets. He defined tailoring, lapels that sat right, trousers that broke once, a shirt collar that framed without swallowing. Off-duty, he made casual look civilized. Open collars, soft knits, and perfect posture. But perfection is heavy. His mother was institutionalized. He grew up thinking she'd left him. Marriage felt like a suit he kept refitting. He experimented with LSD therapy when it was legal and studied himself like a role, trying to figure out where Archie ended and Carrie began. Fans whispered about his long cohabitation with Randolph Scott. He let the whispers float away. His greatest performance might have been making confidence look natural when it rarely felt that way. On the other end of the spectrum was a woman who never apologized for wanting control. 9. Bette Davis, the woman who took Hollywood to court. Bette didn't just break rules, she annotated them. Ruth Elizabeth Davis, born April 5, 1908, hit the stage around 20 to 21, the screen by 23, and never stopped hunting for roles with teeth. Her look drove the drama. Sculpted shoulders, severe gowns, a cigarette that functioned like a saber. The eyes weren't just famous. They were weapons. When studios tried to chain her to nice parts, she sued for the right to work elsewhere. She lost on paper, won in legacy. The feud with Joan Crawford? Some of it was gasoline. Some of it was a match the studios kept striking for headlines. Her marriages were rough seas. Her home life got messy. Later, even family turned into a battlefield. She kept showing up, voice like gravel over steel. If old Hollywood asked women to smile and stand still, Bette made a career out of moving. And then there's the woman they once called poison, who became pure gold. 10. Katharine Hepburn, the long game. She arrived as if she'd invented independence. Katharine Houghton Hepburn, born May 12, 1907, took the stage at 21, the screen at 25, and never relinquished the wheel. She wore trousers when the town demanded skirts, spoke her mind when silence would have been easier, and brought New England athleticism to red carpets. Her fashion wasn't decoration, it was philosophy. Clean lines, movement first, a refusal to be costumed off-camera. They labeled her box office poison when the tide turned. She left, recalibrated, and came back with plays and films that suited her spine. The relationship with Spencer Tracy lived in a box she never opened for the press. The rest of her private life remained behind hedges and stone. She won 4 Best Actress Oscars, a wall no one else has climbed, because she played the role she wrote for herself. A woman who grows louder as she ages. And that might be old Hollywood's biggest secret. Some stars outlast the system that made them. Here's what the posters never said. The image was the mask. The wardrobe was the armor. The rumors were the tax. Real names changed, birth dates didn't, and every effortless look was strategy. 10 icons, 10 contradictions, each one proof that perfection on film was often courage in disguise. Which facade hid the most chaos? And which confession made you like them more?